Good morning, everyone. Lori Marie here, mixed media artist in Vallejo, California. The sun is up, so I can do the intro piece for the video today. I got up at Rob and I get up at 4 o'clock, and so I was in my studio before 5 playing with our project for today. We're going to be making a fun accordion book in a box. So we are going to be using Citrusol papers. I'll put the link to that video under this video. If you haven't played with Citrusol, you have to. And it's very fun. And underpants and focal points and Mod Podge and watercolor crayons. We just pulled it all out. So my studio looks like an explosion happened within these 4 walls, and I will deal with that later. So let's get to it. Let's go make an accordion book in a box. See you on the table. Let's take a little sneak preview as to what we're going to make today, okay? So this is the fun box that we're going to create, that you are going to create, because I've already done it. And I'll show you in the supplies. And then here is the fun accordion book. Very fun. Fun focal points, fun underpants, fun watercolor for the background, fun Stabilo, and it's glued into the box so it doesn't come out. It's just for you to enjoy like that. Alright, now we're on the table. Let's see what's next. Okay, let's go over the supplies that we're going to need for today. As you know, I get up very early in the morning. It is dark o'clock, and I am looking out my studio window at the most glorious moon this morning. Oh, it's just beautiful. All right, back to the supplies, shall we? So I have a friend that smokes these Sherman cigarettes, and this is a perfect size box for us to use today. But use whatever size box you can get your hands on. An Altoid box will work. Any little gift box will work. I like this size. It's not too big, and it's a perfect size for a little accordion book. You'll need your squeegee. I'm going to use the watercolor crayons to add color at the end. I have focal points. I have underpants. And I have Citrusol paper. Now, if you have not made the Citrusol paper yet, I will put a link to that video that I have published on YouTube. It's very, very fun. And you will need your gesso. I even labeled it. And your Mod Podge. And your trusty brush. And your Stabilo, and some doodle pens. I have black and white. Uniball is fantastic. You'll need, pardon me, a ruler, some watercolor paper, the size of your box, the height of your box. Okay, and the watercolor paper that I used is 140 pound. And this is 11 by 15, so mine is 15 inches long, and that works out well for the accordion book. Pardon me, this is the one I've already folded that we'll be working on today. And to get it to that point, you'll take your box, whatever size box you have, measure it, make a notch with your pen, a little line with your pen, and then lay your ruler there and fold it. And then if you have a bone folder, use your bone folder. I don't, and so I just use the ruler. And then what I do is I just place it where the next page is going to be, and give it a fold so I know where to crease it. Put my ruler there. fold it. Make sure that it's straight so that your pages don't go all crazy and crooked. Make sure your edges are even. Take your bone folder or your trusty ruler and press that down again. And then you will do that throughout the whole sheet, okay? And you will come up with an accordion book like this. All right. So what I want to say is, you see me all organized with my supplies prepared, but keep in mind it takes me a little while to get my supplies in order. So be patient with yourself and gather your things, and then you'll be ready to play. So we're going to decorate the box first with the Citrusol papers. And since my book is going to be like this, with the images standing up like this, then I want to create my box with the Citrusol papers in lines like this. But if you choose to do your book like this, then you can decorate it horizontally. Alright, so here are my Citrusol, my yummy, yummy Citrusol papers, my brush, and my box, and my Mod Podge. And if you will remember how to tear these so that you don't get the white edge, remember, if you selfishly tear these toward yourself, you will come up with no white edge, okay? Which isn't important at first because we're going to go over the edge. And I'm just going to apply some Mod Podge to the top of my box. I know the shadows are bad because it's just the overhead light here on my studio table. Alright, and then I'm just going to work down the box like that. And you can make them kind of crooked, which gives it a nice visual look. A little bit of Mod Podge. Another strip, and I'm just going to go down my box like that, leaving things over the edge because I will tuck those down in a few minutes. Alright, I'm just going to go through the box, the top of the box. Alright, I have my layers of Citrusol on the top. I do go ahead and coat it with the Mod Podge. Gives it a nice shiny finish. And then when that's workable, I just put Mod Podge on the edge of the box around here and pull those little papers down. And then I can trim those off with scissors later, or an X-Acto. And I'll just do that on all the edges of the book. I'm sorry, of the top of the box. It's just like wrapping a little Christmas present here on the corners. There we go. And I'll do that on all the edges of that box top. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom as well. Alright, here's the top. I went around with the scissors around the edge and I trimmed, as you can see, I trimmed around the box, and then I just left it hanging over the edge here on the folding side. And then what I'll do is I'll do the same thing on the bottom that I did on the top. Just layer it, and it can go over the back side, and then I will trim this side. Alright, so just grab your brush, put a little bit of Mod Podge on that bottom of the box, some of your Citrusol paper, put it down, and keep moving forward on your box. I'm going to pull this so that there's not too much of an overlap on that side. We'll call that the spine of the box. Go over the spine of the box, and then just keep working up the box. So I have the top done. Push these little edges down. You need more Mod Podge, get more Mod Podge, just push those little edges down. Put it around the bottom edge, and then I'm going to put some Mod Podge on this edge right here and just massage that down so that that sticks there. Looks like I have a little open spot there. Catch that with a little bit of Mod Podge. I'm going to grab my X-Acto and just run my X-Acto on that edge. So what I'm doing there is I'm just finding the edge with my X-Acto. I'm just running it along, removing the paper. The Mod Podge is still a bit damp, and that does help it tear off easily. Take a little bit of Mod Podge and re-stick those edges, huh? Down you go, down you go. A little Christmas wrap at the edge. This one I kind of went over. Let's see if I can remove that. We'll see. Oh yeah. Good. Very, very good. I'm okay with that. And we'll probably end up putting a focal point on here. We shall see. Add just a little bit of color down there. Color, color. Beautiful. All right. Hard part's done. Box is made. Yay! Box is made. Yay! All right. I'm going to set that aside and we're going to start on our accordion book. All right. For this part, you need to decide which is going to be the top of your accordion book and the bottom, because we're going to put some underpants on it. And you know me and the underpants, I kind of like mine straight. I wish I liked them crooked, but I don't. So I have my pile of ephemera for the underpants, and I am just going to go for it. And it can go over the edge because we can trim it with our scissors, okay? So I'm just going to put some Mod Podge down on my watercolor paper. Sorry for the shadows. That's what we get when we work at all wee hours of the morning. And I'm just going to go through and cover the book. Grabbing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I'm just going to work my way across the book. This way, and then back the other way. All right, I have the first row of underpants down, and then I'm just going to work my way back and just keep gluing goodies onto our accordion book, just kind of filling in the gaps here. If you need your squeegee to push things down, go ahead and use that. I really don't care if there's texture and wrinkles. So while you're putting your underpants on, don't give it too much thought. Just have fun with it. See where energy is needed. Add pieces. You can't do anything wrong here. As you can see, mine's kind of a vintage tone with all of these old papers and bits of catalogs and things like that. So just play with it. So see how this area here needs a little bit more energy. So I'll go back to my underpants collection. And we'll put a little something, something there. Give that some energy. Yes, it's just the underpants. Yes, it's just the background. But we still want it to have energy, to be playful. Need something there. We have some numbers. Let's look for some letters. That would be fun. So break those up a little bit. That's fun. So that's the process that I go through. I just have fun with it. Put things down. Check where it needs the energy. And then just glue things down. This is a very, very fun part of the process. Alright, that feels pretty complete. My Mod Podge is still wet. I'm going to let that dry for a little while, as long as I can stand it, and then I'm going to trim off the excess underpants, okay, the excess paper, and then we will revisit our accordion book. You can, after you trim, if you would like to put underpants on the back, you can. For today's project on the video, we're just going to do one side, but you're not limited to one side. You can do both. While this dries, I'm going to bring out my focal points and go through my focal points and see which ones are speaking to me today. Mod Podge fingers. Love Mod Podge fingers. So I'm going to go through these. If they need to be cut out or torn out, I'm going to go ahead and play with that right now. Alright, my accordion book is nearly dry. I happen to have a heat vent under my desk that helps me dry things. So what I'm going to do now is just take a very light layer of the gesso. We want to be able to see our underpants, but we do want it to be a little bit more. Oh, you hear Hudson moving around in his basket. He was snoring earlier. I was hoping we could catch that on the video, but he stopped. So, didn't you, Hudson? Alright, so just a light layer of gesso over all of your underpants. Still want to see them, but we want to be able to blend them into the background a little bit. And we also want to be able to have that accept the watercolor crayons. Alright, I'll put this back under my desk and let this dry. And then what I'm going to do while this is drying is I'm going to go through my focal points. So what I have to say to you is I've been in my studio for an hour and 15 minutes. And going through the underpants, picking them out, folding the paper, that kind of thing. So don't get frustrated if it doesn't take you the 20 minutes to create this that it does on the video. Alright, I'm going to put this under my desk. The gesso is dry. You can still see your underpants, but yet there's a bite on the underpants so that it will grab some color. What I'm going to do now is just refold my book. Like I say, you can do the back side as well. Little up area there. And then I'm going to grab a watercolor crayon. I'm going to grab the gold. And I'm just going to color around the edge. And color along the seams of the pages as well. You can probably tell from the lighting that the sun is up now, which means I've been in the studio for a little while, playing with this and that. All right, now I'm going to grab a brush with some water on it, and I'm just going to start blending that color. And I'm going to do that on all the edges of the pages. Creating a nice juicy color on our accordion book. I'm going to let this dry, and while I let this dry, I am going to look at my focal points and see what's next. So what has happened now is I am once again facing a blank canvas. Frightening. Alright, so this is what we're looking at. So what I know is this smaller piece right here is going to be glued into the bottom of our box to adhere our accordion book into the box. So what I did here is I just assembled little collages that I know I want to put on the pages, and then I can kind of figure out where it's going to go from there, kind of space it, and then Mod Podge it down. I already Mod Podged this guy down, the hand with the little pupil in between the iris and the pupil, between the finger and the thumb. Thought that was kind of fun. I glued a clock on the back of his head. He's got some wings, and he's the one with the good idea. Here's the little gal in the bathing suit. I did end up putting a hand on her bottom. A little political statement there, can't help it once in a while. And then this was the coffee filter, the Chinese bowl, and then just a melancholy looking woman. And then this was a man. I cut his head off and I put her head on it, and then I put an apple on her head. So these are all glued together as little mini collages, and then I will just glue them down. I have some small focal points here, little ephemera, and I may go in and place them. So what I've done is I have folded my book. I know that this side is going to be up. This side is going to be glued into the book. I have my focal points glued down, and what I'm doing now is I'm just adding little bits and pieces to where the energy is needed. I am really happy with the energy on this. It's very, very fun. So I have everything filled that I want filled. I'm just going to flip it over and take my scissors and trim things off. So I'm starting to go around the pages of the accordion book with the Stabilo. If you have seen my videos in the past, you know that I am absolutely crazy about my Stabilo. And you just leave a dark line around the edge, and then come in, a little bit of glue there on that fish, please. And then just go in with a little bit of moisture and give it a nice smoky smudge. I just tap my finger to my tongue and use that moisture, but you can use your water bowl or a damp paper towel. Some people even like to smudge with a Q-tip, a moistened Q-tip. I just like to smudge. All right, then you'll go in by the focal points here. Give each focal point a nice smoky smudge. While that is drying, I am fiddling around with some focal points for the front. So we've got some yummy colors on the front, so I certainly don't want to cover all of them. So I think I'll put her off the top a little bit. I was looking at this, which is very fun on her head, but then when I brought this in, it just brightens the whole piece up. So I'm going to do something with this rose right here on her, in her hair, on her head, something like that. Well, I've pulled the glue dots out, and what you do is you push it down and the glue dot will stick to your box. Then you grab some transfer foil and push that down onto the glue dot, and then it leaves a foil dot on there. Pretty fun. So here's the box for our book. Oh, I'm opening it the wrong way. There we go. I'm going to put some book text here to cover that. I'm going to take our accordion book. This is going to go into the box, of course. Beautiful. Look at that. And I'm just going to take some tacky glue and put some glue here and stick that down into the box so that that will stay. Beautiful. All right, here's our amazing box. Here's our amazing accordion book. I'm taking some E6000. I want a pretty strong adhesive here because of pulling on that book when we take it out to look at it, but we want it to stick in the box. So I've got some E6000 here, nice smelly stuff. This particular E6000 is white, so this does not dry clear. Picked that up by mistake. Place our book in there. I added to it in your own right. I thought that was kind of fun. Place that down there nice and strong. There we go. Oh, and what I want to do is just put an old book page here. So I will do that, and then I will call this project complete. So thanks for playing with me. I'm glad you don't have to get up at dark o'clock to play. But I like to do that. So thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. Give me a reason why. I always like to hear. And I hope you had fun, because you know I did. All right, gang. Thanks so much for your support. You're amazing. And I'll see you next time.